Welcome back to the news of the week, your weekly automotive news update. And we're back with Sirish in the studio. Sirish is back from his drive with the Nexon EV. But before we talk about that, let me tell you what all we're going to be covering in today's episode. Formula One. Of course, Formula One is back. MG announced a new car for India. That's what we're going to be talking about. We'll be talking about new launches in the country, the Alcazar and the Honda City. And we'll also talk about Lamborghini's new V12 Hybrid. We've got a lot of juicy details about the drivetrain. Not too much about the car itself, but there's plenty to talk about. Now, Sirish, what was K2K in the Nexon EV like?
Oh, it was incredible. Of course, we set out to achieve a record, and records are never easy. In fact, we ended up setting 24, 25 records. So we knew it would be difficult, but I didn't expect the Nexon to take it so easily. And all the pre-planning that we had done, chalking out the route, marking out the charging stations, locating where to go, all of that, that helped immensely. So we just knew where we had to stop along the route because we had a lot of racer boys also with us. So all the strategy at work. And then we figured out that we can skip a couple of charging spots, optimize our range, extend our range. And that's why we managed to get there before time, even though we lost a lot of time at the start. But it was an incredible experience because you experience and you see so much of India, the differences in the roads, the speed at which new roads are coming up all across the country, also the chaos on our highways. Plus, you figure out that you actually can do road trips in an EV in India because
that was
the charging,
the whole point of this.
Exactly, the charging infrastructure is more or less sorted out. And even on that new Trans-Haryana expressway that we drove on, because it was so new, there's no permanent charging infrastructure. But up north, there is something called Hop Charge, where they come to you wherever you are and they juice up your car, and not with a diesel generator. They come with batteries and they juice up your car. So even that is sorted out. Plus down south, there are so many chargers and so many really good players that you can drive all over South India with an electric car, no problems at all.
What was it like not seeing a bed for 4 days?
Oh man, after I came back, that's when the exhaustion really hit me. And I think for 3 days, 4 days, I was a complete zombie. So that's the time I actually thought I would binge watch Drive to Survive. And I don't know if it's just me, but I somehow did not enjoy the show as much, did not even absorb it as much. Maybe it was just the exhaustion that my brain was completely fogged up.
He actually missed the Urus Performante drives because he was tired. And
now imagine me not driving a car that has rally mode on a new racetrack in India, which is dirt, where they want you to go sideways.
Fully sideways.
And I just didn't have the energy to drive that.
I mean,
so
I'm sure.
I hope the Lamborghini guys are watching this, and please, I would love to drive the Urus Performante again. We have a really cool idea, which we will run it by you guys. So how was the Urus Performante?
Unreal. Unbelievable. Like, you expect it to be fast, but you don't expect the sort of savagery that it comes with, you know. Something that stayed with me were the gear shifts. They just knock you back every single time you shift a gear. They knock you back. It's so savage. It's stiff also. They've thrown out the air suspension, put steel springs in there, 23-inch wheels, massive wheels. So it is firm. Over our roads, it's bumpy, it's firm. But when you show it a set of corners, the way it... you have to recalibrate how you drive, because you expect it to understeer. You expect it to feel all of that weight going into a corner, in braking. Nothing. There's nothing. It just darts around. It's so fast. And
I saw your videos sending it sideways around that corner.
Yeah, and then on the track, it's unbelievable. Like that's another thing that really caught me by surprise. How oversteery it is. It just wants to go sideways. So when you put it into rally mode, they explain to us what happens. The drivetrain goes into the most aggressive setting. So it's Corsa Plus. Okay, so the second you touch the throttle, you're getting a lot of torque to the rear wheel. Some 666 PS it is. ESP, it's pretty much not there. The suspension is set up for that oversteery nature. The anti-roll bars are set up for that sort of weight shifting. And it's so dialed in. You know, you just chuck it into a corner, and the second the weight shifts, it's already trying to step out. You know, you can feel it rotate. You just breathe on the accelerator and it just snaps, you know. But it's also very progressive. It's like a typical four-wheel drift, you know, where you're not going to lose control, and it's not like you need to catch it, and if you don't catch it, you're going to spin out. No, it's very progressive. It holds that slip angle. You can just get feed in the accelerator and pull yourself out of a drift. It's unreal. Unbelievable.
Damn it. I can't wait to drive
and
that.
On that track.
How's the track? How's the new Bren Raceway?
You can't really tell right now because it's still just a track cut on soil. There are still trees right alongside the tracks. You have no idea of runoff areas. It's a little hard to gauge. But you've got some really beautiful flowing corners. Apparently one of the corners is going to be a banked corner. Similar to the Parabola at BIC. It's a tighter corner, not as wide, but that's what they're trying to do. And there's one corner which is like a corkscrew. So you approach the corner, it's completely blind. You can just see like a crest, a horizon. And then you approach the top of it and it's this downhill left-right, almost like the Laguna Seca corkscrew. The instructors told us to, stop, almost come to a standstill, put downhill descent control and sort of demonstrated that to us. Obviously, they didn't want us flying off that thing. It would have just been very ugly. But
isn't it so cool that Bhupesh Reddy, who's enthusiastic car collector, he's got one of the finest car collections in the country.
Probably, yeah.
He loves driving on track and he has the means to do it. And he's doing it. He's setting up a racetrack where you can actually enjoy high-performance cars. India being such a huge country, we have only 3 racetracks. Of course, there is talk of so many more racetracks coming up.
So much talk. But
it's just talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? We've seen Nanoli this raceway in Pune. Work is starting on it, but still it's a long way away from completion. Here, they actually managed to drive the dirt layout. And it looked really cool from whatever I saw, all the videos that you guys put up. So it's so cool that these enthusiastic car collectors are actually putting up racetracks where they can drive their cars enthusiastically, which bodes well for the rest of us. I hope the breed keeps growing.
For sure. And I mean, he's putting it up and obviously he's going to use it for himself, but he's also giving back, right? It's going to be used for motorsport. It's going to be used for the community. It's going to be used for track days. And it's another track in the country and that's something we celebrate. I mean, when was the last new track made in the country? BIC. That was when? 2010, 11? When did it open?
Yeah, must be around that time. I can't remember. But that was the time. We drove Coast. That was almost 2 years ago now.
And no word of it.
But still, work is going on. It's not come to an end. The track is still not ready. So hopefully, more tracks, the merrier, and better for us. You get guys off the road. Don't do stupid things on the road. Go to the track, get your thrills, drive faster, learn things, and then on the road, you don't have any charbi to take out.
Absolutely.
You're calm.
Yeah.
There's no rage.
Nothing
there's
to prove.
No angst. There's nothing to prove.
Yeah.
So this will help, car guys, bike guys, everybody.
Absolutely. Anyway, we digress. Back to the news. Formula 1 is back. Did you watch this race?
Of course.
Yeah.
I got the new Formula 1 Pro app also. Different views. I think it's money well spent.
Absolutely. Even I think
Everybody has been yelling and screaming about it. But I think the commentary is really good on it. Sure. The pre-race show, the post-race show, pre-qualifying, post-qualifying, all of that.
And
so
you've got
tons to do on
access to this archive also.
Yes.
If you're into the history of things, you can go back and watch so many races.
Actually, it's expensive because with that, you need to get an iPad. So you can actually really dive into all that is there on it. So I'm getting myself an iPad to actually use the Formula 1 app properly. But I think it's worth it. There's just so much of content on it and it's great. Plus the race was
unbelievable.
In terms of the fight for the lead, there was no fight for the lead. But the midfield, there was so much. There was just so much to keep you entertained.
And obviously Alonso getting on the podium, that has to be the story of the race.
So a lot of Formula 1 pundits have been saying that Alonso is the best driver on the grid. And looking at what he did in that Aston Martin, come on, he has to be the best driver in the grid.
I mean, it's a good car. We saw that in practice. It was topping the times.
Yeah, and if it looks fast, it's obviously fast, right?
Yeah. But to be able to take a midfield team up to that level, and it's unreal.
I think for the first time in his life...
And he's 42, 41.
For the first time in his life, after the Renault period, Alonso has done a good signing.
Yeah.
He's signed he's signed for a team that is capable of fighting for podiums.
Absolutely.
So I think in the end of his career, finally he's making the right decisions.
But you think about why his podium came along, and it's because Ferrari was Ferrari again.
I think the car looks beautiful. I think the pace is there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's there because you look at how far up the road Red Bull
But you
was.
know, I was reading some post-analysis comments, and Fred Vasseur, the team principal, said that it's not for nothing that we've got quali pace. And he said that I've not seen a car, so this is his words, that I've not seen a car that has quali pace and that can't deliver on race pace. So it is set up. But they need to set it up properly for the race.
With modern Formula One, a lot of it is also degradation. Now, they talk so much about degradation.
Yes.
You may have pace over a single lap, but do you have pace over a whole stint on a single set of tires?
Well, I hope what he said is true and it's about setup, getting the setup right.
I hope so. I'm a Ferrari fan. I bloody well hope so.
Yeah, so Ferrari, it needs to be up there. It's close.
You're having engine troubles in your first race. You can't help but feel dejected, you know. And you saw Charles' face in the post-race interviews.
Yes.
He was done. He was like, I'm done with this, you know, like.
And even Mercedes don't seem to be anywhere close.
Nowhere close. But I mean, I'm hoping that gap will be bridged as the season goes through. It usually does
they're
happen.
saying that they got to scrap the entire no side pod concept and start afresh.
They have the money for it.
But you can't just spend bindas, no.
Yeah.
Today, you have the cost cap.
That's what. If they have the budget for it, actually, not the money for it. They have the budget left
if they have
for
set
it.
aside for a completely new... So who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have to take away from the catering budget and put it over here.
Yeah.
So let's see. But I love it that Formula 1 is back.
Yeah.
Now MotoGP also will be back.
Yeah.
WRC is back. This off-season is like terrible for us fans because there's no racing,
there's
no action.
Doing nothing.
Yeah, and that's where Drive to Survive comes in to
But
bridge
they also,
that in between.
They also launched the thing 1 week before the
That's
race
what,
weekend.
too late.
Yeah. It should
Maybe
have been
they
in
just
December
had
or
too
something.
much of content and it takes time to edit.
I'm sure it does.
It's like us here. We also have got so much content, it takes time to edit it out.
And now let's get to the news which is India relevant. MG unveiled a cool new car for India. It's called the Comet.
Okay, so lots of chatter around it.
Yeah.
It's a brave concept.
This is actually what we thought we'd see at Auto Expo.
Yeah, true.
You know, we thought the Air would be shown at Auto Expo and we were waiting and they showed us a hydrogen van. But this was what we were supposed to see.
True. So it was called the Air. Now it's called the Comet for India. It's a 2-door, a 3-door.
It's 2-door.
Does the boot open?
I'm not sure.
I'm also not sure.
Yeah.
But okay, so 2/3-door, but a proper 4-seater. There is space. I think it will be proper. So they don't want us to compare it to the Nano and the Alto and all of that. But if you look at the wheelbase, the wheelbase is more than the Nano.
Correct.
The Nano was a proper 4-seater.
Plus it's a skateboard, so it'll be stretched out to...
Yeah, so the wheels would be at the edges of the car. So it's got a long wheelbase.
Yeah.
So around 2 meter wheelbase and 2.9 meters in length. So I think it'll be a proper 4-seater. There is no engine to eat into the space.
And it's a full EV.
It's a full EV.
So you're going to have a battery.
It's a born EV. So
it's
not like designed to have an engine somewhere. So there are no compromises to it.
Yeah.
So there will be space. I think it'll be a proper 4-seater. Yeah. But this is not something that you can take on the highway.
Correct. It's a pure urban car.
Is India ready to buy a car that can be only used in the city?
I think it is. I think we are.
So, logically speaking, of course, a lot of cars are used only in the city.
Absolutely.
But is our mindset tuned to putting money down on a car that can only be used in the city?
How many people do you know that have second cars?
Oh, tons.
Exactly. And that second car is what? It's your daily runabout, isn't it?
True.
So, unless you need a big car for your daily runabout, if it's something to go to the shops, if it's something to run around in the neighborhood, if it's something to ferry yourself to your kids to tuition and back, to school and back, why do you need more space than that?
So there's another thought to that, and that is the second car is invariably used by the other members in the family and the driver drives that car. The second car, at least what I have seen, more often than not is being driven by a driver. Now, would you buy an Air and sit in the back? First of all, how will you get into the back? You have to clamber into the back.
Yeah.
So if you are using your own second car, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But in India, more often than not, the second car is used by the driver to do all the picking up kids from school, going to buy sabji bhaji, doing whatever, all those odds and ends.
But then what's your alternative? Would you buy a WagonR for that?
No, not really. But that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
So like a Nexon EV, okay, a lot of people I know are using that as their daily runabout.
Correct.
And that's brilliant because the driver drives it, you're sitting at the back, there's enough space, you can sit in the front, whatever. You know, it solves all your purposes. But I think as a one car, I don't know. I personally feel that India should progress to that.
Yeah.
You know, it is a great mobility solution for the city. Small in size, so it
Exactly.
takes up very little space on the road. It'll be quick. It's small, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be quick enough. If it gets up to 80 kilometers per hour, that's more than enough for the city.
Absolutely.
You don't need it to be faster.
Yeah.
It's quiet. It looks nice.
Yeah.
A lot of comments that, oh, look at the way it looks. But I think it's different.
It's funky.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
And it is there. So I think that's also fine. It will reduce pollution, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, okay, that whole debate about where the electricity is coming from coming from coal-fired and all that. That can go on and on.
Yeah.
But in the city, they cut down on pollution, cut down on noise. So I think it's cool.
I see it fitting into my family. And I think that's where I base my judgment on by saying that we're ready for it. You know, back home in Goa, we need a second car. Something small like that is perfect. You know, you've got enough range to, say, go to North Goa for the evening, come back home. Go to South Goa for the day, come back home. The roads are small over there. It fits, you know, and I can see it fitting into a lot of people's lives. Even in an urban center like Mumbai, I think it's perfect. You know, you live in town, you want something small to run about, and you don't want to take out your big car and get stuck in traffic every day.
Definitely.
And our roads, our traffic, the metro work in every bloody city. You want something that's easy to drive, easy to maneuver, and that fits the bill, and it's affordable. It should be affordable.
So what I have read and what I've heard is not going to be cheap.
I mean, it's an EV, so
it's going to be a premium-ish EV. I hope it will be priced less than the Tiago EV.
I think it has to be priced less than a Tiago EV because you look at the Tiago, it looks substantial compared to that. You know, this gives off Reva vibes.
True.
And you position that in your mind under a Tiago. So I think to work, it has to be aggressively priced there.
True.
You know.
So I'm all for it. I'm all for new tech and all these interesting solutions. I think it's time. Whether Indians will actually put down money on it, let's wait and watch. Yeah. But it's interesting.
For sure.
It's a very good addition. And speaking about the Tiago EV, we also had the EC3.
Yeah.
So the EC3 prices are out. Now, what do we make of the prices?
So
I thought the Tiago EV would have a really good rival in terms of prices. I thought the EC3 would probably undercut the Tiago.
When you look at the spec sheet, that's what you would assume. But the EC3 has a bigger battery. You know, I think that's where that premium is coming from. And I mean, if you look at the bottom end models, yeah, the Tiago undercuts it, but top end they're pretty much on par. So, I mean, I've only driven the top end Tiago. I've not even driven the EC3, so it's
neither have I.
It's hard for me to say how they square off against each other in terms of like
that's
what
a cool
is more
comparison
value.
test.
100%. I think it's important comparison test, and we should try and put that together.
Yeah.
And get me my Tiago EV long term also. Wanting one for a while.
But you know, if you look back, say 2-3 years ago, I was like, this EV thing is all rubbish.
Yeah.
No, what nonsense.
You lived with an e-tron, no? That changed your mind.
No, it's one thing is living with an e-tron, and the other is doing so many drives with electric vehicles. And I honestly feel that EVs are great for a lot of the purposes and end use cases. It's great. Like the Nexon EV is fantastic. I drove it now. I don't think any other journalist can have claim to have spent as much time in a Nexon EV as I have. It's well sorted dynamically. Of course, batteries are heavy, so it doesn't ride over bumps as ICE. But I think it's well sorted to Indian roads and conditions. It's got enough power, enough range. I think it's great.
I think you need to disconnect the EV from the saviors that they're being heralded as. You know, you can't call EVs the saviors of the environment today.
True.
You know, you're just outsourcing your carbon footprint today, as of the way electricity is made today, the way lithium is mined today. So, but you look at an EV as a car and solely as a piece of mobility. I think there is a place for it in our world.
Yeah,
you know,
and let all the tech exist side by side.
Absolutely.
So ICE, hybrid, EV,
hydrogen,
whenever that comes. And I think that will come for trucking.
100%.
That makes a lot of sense. So people say about the hydrogen infra. But if you set up these big petrol stations, which are already there, okay, you set that up for hydrogen and you're sorted.
And then you'll have queues outside them, like you have queues for CNG with rickshaws.
No, but I'm talking about heavy trucking.
Yeah.
So big trucks on the highway where you have these huge petrol pumps, these company-owned, company-operated petrol pumps. There, every 200 kilometers, you have a
100%.
hydrogen station.
Yeah.
Your truck fills up there. They spend overnight.
The government's
testing.
investing in it. In this year's budget also, they announced a lot of investment
I think
into
hydrogen for trucking will really work. Hydrogen for cars, personal mobility, I don't think so. Because where do you set this up all in the city? So EVs for the city would be fine, and hydrogen for heavy trucking, I think that also will work. We are on this cusp of such interesting times and so much of change that you don't know what tomorrow will bring.
Yeah, but I fear a lot of it is going to be determined by legislation. I just hope the legislation is made with an informed mind and with the right perspective.
Yep, let's hope. We can always hope.
Now, let's talk about launches in the country. There were a couple of important cars launched over the last week. One was the Alcazar Facelift. Sorry. And it gets the new turbo petrol 1.5 engine. Let me just pull out the prices.
So, the 1.5 turbo engine, that's the one that's going to be rolled out across the range very soon. So, the new Verna, which we're going to drive end of March, that also gets the 1.5 turbo. In fact, the Verna does not get a diesel. So, diesel is out of that. It's only the...
Verna's diesel out? Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so I'm right.
Yeah. Diesel's out.
So diesel's out. But why?
Probably
why
not.
Doesn't the Verna get the diesel?
It's probably not meeting the new
but they have. They have. So the Creta will continue with the diesel.
But you also have the whole fleet emission norms which you have to...
Probably, yeah.
Strange.
Yeah. Because the Creta, they still sell a fair bit of diesels. The Venue, they still sell a fair bit of diesels.
Or maybe that's a segment that's pushing towards petrol now and they don't see sense in...
But there aren't any diesel cars there, right?
Yeah.
The city, no diesel.
No diesel.
It's only petrol.
And hybrid.
So the Verna would actually sit in a really sweet spot, being the only diesel car in that segment.
Probably.
Are we missing something?
You call Hyundai.
I don't know. Yeah, strange.
Okay, but prices. Let's get to the prices of the Alcazar. 16.74 lakhs is where it starts. 20.25 lakhs is the top end. Offered in both 6 and 7 seat variants. And in terms of updates, it does get a slight tweak to the front end. And it gets...
Can I just say that the Alcazar is not my favorite Hyundai?
It's probably
in fact, it's
my least favorite Hyundai.
The least impressive Hyundai sold in India today.
I have a big question about this. When Hyundai and Kia, they exist side by side and they both have this 7-seater, the Carens, it starts at nearly half the price of the Alcazar.
So with this whole Hyundai motor group, Hyundai and Kia, you never know what platform is spawning what.
Absolutely. But
this looks like the
Creta platform. The Alcazar is Creta platform.
Alcazar is clearly Creta platform. The Carens is not Seltos platform.
Yeah,
it's Sonnet platform. So obviously that gives them cost efficiencies.
But then even then...
But forget the cost and everything. Okay. What I feel that Kia has done... Okay, so Hyundai have said that SUVs. India wants SUVs. Kia have taken a step back and said that does India want only SUVs? Look at how many numbers the Ertiga is doing. Look at the Innova, what they're doing. So why don't we give India another MPV? It's not the coolest car to have. Nobody says that, oh, I got this cool ass MPV. Nobody says that. But everybody wants a practical MPV. The space for 7 people and enough.
It's comfortable.
The logic.
It's comfortable. Spacious. It's got a diesel engine.
So the Carens is not like harping on performance or handling. It's giving a comfortable ride and decent performance.
It's got great features at that price.
Great features. So I think they, in terms of their mindset and their logic, have cracked that segment better than what Hyundai have done with the Alcazar.
Absolutely,
and
100%.
In Alcazaring a Creta, the ride comfort is not there. It just can't take the ride of those big wheels.
Not
those
a big fan of that second row either.
Yeah, those big wheels don't work for dynamics. So Hyundai make really good, impressive cars. Alcazar, not there. The Tucson. Our Tucson is finally there in our fleet. I'm using the Tucson. I love it. To me, the Tucson has been a lodestar for where Hyundai are going towards. Every time you drove a Tucson, every time a new Tucson came, you knew that this would then spawn a better Creta or a better Venue. Now, you found good handling Hyundais. First, you experienced good handling Hyundais with the Tucson. Performance, the Tucson. First, it delivered a good sound system. The Archimedes in the Tucson when it first came out. So all of that filtered down from the Tucson. It's like Hyundai's Mercedes S-Class. But it
is their bestseller globally, isn't it?
Yeah, it gives an indication of what you can expect.
Yeah.
And I think this new Tucson also very good.
And your car has been to Umlingla and back.
It's been all over. It's been driven down to Pune.
Yeah.
No squeak, no rattle. I'm very happy about it. There's one dink on the tailgate. Need to dive into who
That was not me.
delivered that.
I promise you it wasn't.
There's one small dink on the tailgate. But it's done. It's gone through the walls.
Yeah.
And it's really... I
It is a
think
very
it's
impressive car.
very
Even
nice. Plus, styling obviously is personal.
I
But
like it.
the styling looks very good.
Yeah.
You see a fair few in Pune
Yeah.
also. You see a fair few of these
I'm
Tucsons, and you
surprised.
can't miss it for anything else. It just looks so striking.
You see those DRLs merging into that grill and you're like, whoa, Tucson.
Yeah.
Even the taillights, very distinct. You know, the way they come, like claws almost.
Yeah, the grey probably not the coolest color for it, but whatever. I think black would look really good. But I think the Tucson really
Beautiful car.
And then you have the Ioniq 5.
Yeah.
Is there a cooler looking car at 50 lakh rupees?
You make me think. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. There isn't. I mean, that's one of the coolest cars on sale, period.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway, back to India launches. You're looking at where did that go? Honda City prices. The Honda City has been facelifted. The updates are incremental. It's not much. You've got slightly tweaked styling. You've got new wheels. You've got ADAS, which has come to the regular variants, the petrol variants. Earlier, it was only on the hybrids.
Yep.
So now you've got ADAS. And you've got wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, which I think are good updates. You know, I mean,
I think these are essential updates.
For sure.
Today, who will buy a car without wireless CarPlay or wireless
I'm not
Android
going
Auto?
to base my decision on that, but I'd want my car to have it for sure.
Definitely, you know. So you would want that,
Yeah.
and in matter of a year, it'll be so outdated plugging a wire into your car.
Yeah.
So I think essential updates.
Yeah.
That whole segment has seen a sort of revival with the Virtus, with the Slavia. So interest is building up. The new Verna will come, so that will add more interest to the segment. The Honda City has always been the benchmark for the segment. It has been the Honda City segment for the longest time. The Honda City is probably not right up there in terms of performance anymore, or even in terms of handling or the thrill of driving.
But it
does everything, you know.
It's the best all-rounder.
It's the jack of all trades.
Yeah. If I had to recommend the car to somebody who's not a driving enthusiast, in that segment, that's what I'm recommending.
Yeah, it is the jack of all trades.
So,
and you can't go wrong with the Honda City. You will get good resale value at the end of it. You know it'll be
reliable
thoroughly reliable.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll deliver the best fuel efficiency also.
It's quiet. It's comfortable.
Quiet. So
quality is good.
It does everything.
And it has lovely seats. I love the seats on the Honda City.
It probably doesn't light any fires in the enthusiast belly, which is a shame because all those fires in my belly were lit by the old Honda City and the old VTEC. Those were the ones that really fueled our madcap driving desires and thrills when I was growing up. So I told the Honda guys that, you know, we grew up as Honda enthusiasts. But today, the younger generation, you for instance, you don't have a Honda that will make you a lifelong fan of Honda.
100%. I mean, I've driven a few Hondas that have blown my mind. One of them is the older City. One of them is that Race Jazz, which had that 2.4 Accord engine in the Jazz. And I was like, wow, you know. But I've not, the modern lineup of Hondas as is not exciting.
Exactly.
The hybrid is a technological tour de force. And I'm in awe of what it is. But I'm not excited by it.
Yeah, so Honda needs a car that will make fans out of the current generation.
Yeah. And Honda's built its legacy on that.
Exactly.
I mean, you look at Honda internationally, that is what it stands for. It's racing and then race to road.
Exactly.
But you don't see that here.
Yeah, it's a shame, but I hope better late than never.
Yeah.
They wake up and before ICE gets canned completely and everything goes to EV, they bring the Civic, the Type R. Of course, it'll sell in very small numbers.
They don't even bring the regular Civic here. What they'll bring Type R?
But it will just make people fans of the brand. I'm a lifelong fan of Honda. So the City did its job with me, the original City. But where is the car that will do the job for you?
Today's generation it's Skoda Volkswagen, you know, that's where they find
it's the
thrills.
TSI engines. But it's the Octavia RS.
Yeah.
Even though the next Octavia RS will be mind-bogglingly expensive because of the hybrid and everything. But Octavia RS, you sit up and take notice.
Yeah.
That's what there has to be a Type R. There has to be one mental 9,000 RPM engine. Let it sell 5 units. Doesn't matter. Honda is a big brand. It can afford to take a hit on that. But at least we guys, we journalists, we'll be screaming, "Oh, Honda's back! Oh, Honda!" And that is what creates that noise, that buzz. There needs to be buzz. There needs to be hero cars. The Jimny is not going to do the same numbers as the Brezza.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Maruti desperately lacked a hero car in their range. A car that I would go in and just to look at a car. They lacked that. Yeah. Now finally the Jimny is coming. The Thar is not practical.
Not at
but
all.
It's a hero car. It's a car that you want. It needs to tick those emotional angles, those emotional boxes. Yeah. That's what every manufacturer needs.
And Tata Motors, they're doing it too with the Sierra.
Oh man, just look at the Sierra. What good design can do. Just makes it so desirable. In fact, all the Tata cars, they look so good. Yeah. The red dark, the Safari and the Harrier, ultimately what are they? They're just black colored cars. Yeah. But the black on the outside, the red on the inside, and of course those updates, blacked out badges, chrome delete, factory chrome delete. I think it's very cool nice. Stuff. Design really does evoke those emotions. But a 9,000 RPM engine will evoke even more emotions.
For sure. Yeah. Now, speaking of 9,000 RPM engines, Lamborghini dropped some very, very interesting news. They haven't unveiled their car, but they've given us a lot of details about what to expect from their new V12 hybrid supercar. And it's interesting stuff. So they've got the 6.5 liter V12 that continues, but it's
that's all new
engine. They're saying, now how new, what is new, we won't know. I don't think anyone will know, but they're calling it a new engine. And obviously it's hybrid, plug-in hybrid. So it's going to have 3 electric motors, 2 on the front, 1 for each wheel, I'm guessing, or 2 on the front axle, 1 at the rear attached to the transaxle gearbox. And
the gearbox is new. It's not it's not your AMT gearbox anymore.
So, and they've made a lot of noise about it in the press release as well. DCT.
Because that AMT was not good.
And they're probably the last manufacturer to get a DCT. And considering, the Volkswagen Group has DCTs across the range, and then Lamborghini doesn't have one. It's quite funny. But they've got a DCT, and they've given some interesting details. 1,000+ horsepower.
Man,
from a production supercar this is.
Can you believe it? 1,000 horsepower car. And when you think about it, an ICE with a hybrid obviously delivering 1,000 horsepower, it is something else.
Yeah.
But then again, your electric supercars are beating that to the wind, right?
But now you think about it. You're getting 1,000 horsepower. You're getting instant responses. You're getting all of the advantages of an EV with an engine that revs to 9,500.
The noise, the emotions, the drama.
Yeah, I can't wait to even be next to a car and hear what it sounds like and to witness that performance. Forget drive it. It's going to be crazy. And I've got some stats here. Let me just pull them out.
And predictably, it's going to look wild. Right?
I'm sure. It's a Lamborghini. It's a flagship Lamborghini.
It'll just look unreal.
It's in the same line that spawned the Countach, the Diablo, the Murcielago. So you can imagine where it's going to go with design. So the engine, it is 218 kilos now, 17 kilos lighter than before. So it obviously is probably a new engine completely, because to save 18 kilos on an engine, significant.
Probably.
Yeah. Yep. Combined output of 1,001 bhp, max torque 725 Nm. It can run in pure electric mode.
Up to what speed?
I don't have that data on me right now.
Okay.
But
moving ahead.
Yeah. The transmission tunnel. So they said that the engine has been flipped 180 degrees. So earlier you had the transmission behind the passengers, probably eating into the cockpit a little bit. The transmission tunnel was there. Now you've got batteries there. And they flip the engine around. You've got batteries in the transmission tunnel. So they've obviously repackaged the whole thing. And it's a small battery, 3.8 kilowatt hours. You compare to EVs today with massive batteries. It's a small battery, but it adds so much performance.
So the way these hybrids work is that the 1,000 horsepower that you're talking about, that is momentary.
For sure.
It'll probably be when the battery is at the peak of its charge. So you'll probably have 1,000 bhp for 10 seconds.
Correct.
The rest of the time, the batteries are juicing up. So you're not getting all 1,000 bhp. But it's only when you want 1,000 bhp will you actually need 1,000 bhp, right? Yeah. So only when you really floor it will you need all 1,000 bhp. And where can you and how often can you put your foot down and deliver or extract all 1000 bhp.
Unless you're on a track, it's impossible.
Yeah, on a track you'll probably run out of juice. You'll have to harvest energy
Drive it like
a
an
Formula
F1
One
car.
driver.
Yeah.
But otherwise, my God.
Wait.
So I drove the 296 GTB also with hybrid assist.
Yeah.
And on the road, my God.
It's crazy, no?
My
And
God.
that's the baby hybrid Ferrari.
That's the baby hybrid Ferrari. So I can only imagine what the Aventador replacement of V12 hybrid would be like to drive.
So I have another question. They're calling it the LB744.
LP.
LB.
LB. What does LB stand for?
It's usually it's longitudinally positional. But
So
I don't know what. Battery?
Maybe.
And 744, I don't know what the significance of that number is either. Because neither does the engine make 744 bhp. Or...
So many questions.
Yeah, so many questions. But they do say overall CO2 emissions are down 30%. That's the whole point of these hybrids, to reduce CO2 emissions. 30% less.
You have to be responsible in this day and age.
Yeah. So the V12 engine itself, 825 PS, 9,500 RPM redline. Peak power is 9,250. So if you want that power, you're going to have to
scream the engine.
Insane it'll be. And compression ratio is up. So 12.6 is to 1 compared to 11.8 is to 1. So it's going to be a really highly strung motor. Unreal.
Their whole experience will be something else, man.
And I'm going to read out verbatim from the press release. Yeah? Particular attention has been lavished onto the soundtrack for the new L545, that's the engine code name, to emphasize the tone of the engine, already melodious at low revs and then rising to a natural harmonious crescendo.
Whoever's writing the press releases know this job, huh?
350 Nm from each electric motor on the front axle. What kind of torque is that delivering? My God. And how are they going to put all of that down to the road? If you've got 350 Nm to one wheel, imagine. That's ridiculous.
This is now going to be shown end of March?
They're supposed to.
So end of March, I think another 2...
And it'll go on sale this year in India.
Another 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
It's going to go on sale this year in India.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get a grubby pause on an Aventador replacement, whatever this is going to be called. What fighting bulls are left that they haven't already named their
Let me go
cars
back and check the roster.
But I'm sure it'll be Italian. A 4-door sounds great. Yeah, 4 doors, quattro forte. Performance got Performante. So it'll sound cool. It'll look cool. It'll go like mad, and it's great. Everybody's talking about EVs, but an ICE, a V12. A new V12 in this day and age is something to be celebrated.
They're preserving their heritage, and I think they're doing it the right way. You've got to go electric, cool, but do it with a V12.
Yeah. So, and that's coming back to what I said right at the start.
Yeah.
That let ICE and hybrid and EV all exist side by side. Let customers pick what they want, basis what they need, whether they want to save money, whether they want emissions, whether they want noise, whether they want silence, everything. Basis what they need, they can pick what they want, and everything will coexist.
Unreal. Exciting times.
Super. So
thank you so much. That's it for this week.
Yep, that's it for this week. And next week, what's exciting?
I have to check the calendar.
Yeah. So we are... Actually, I don't know if we can say this.
No, don't say it yet.
Okay. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and
tune in next week, and we'll tell you what we've done next week.
Okay, see you next week.